Today we celebrate the memorial of African martyrs. And I wanted to share a little bit with you about these martyrs that today we commemorate. Who are they? Well, the one that stands out is Charles Lwanga, and he had 20 companions. Where did they live? They lived in Uganda, a country in South Africa, with big lakes just like Minnesota. What were the circumstances that prompted their martyrdom? So Uganda was a country with very few Catholics, and French missionaries in the late 19th century went to Uganda to preach the gospel. And at first, the king was very receptive, and he wanted to offer people in his country, and especially those that worked with him in his court, the chance to listen to different religious options. So when the French missionaries came to Uganda, a group of those who were closer to the king embraced Catholicism. And among those who embraced Catholicism, the one that stood out for his position with the king was Charles Lwanga. He was like the head of the page. And this African king, who wasn't a Christian himself, wanted to force those in the court to do immoral things. He wanted to force the page to do things that, now that they had embraced the faith, they understood to be wrong and immoral. Among those who were close to the king that were turning Catholics were teenagers, 15 years old. So when the king noticed that his subjects were unwilling to obey him because they understood that they had to obey their conscience and God, the king, like many tyrants, got very upset because he thought everyone should respect and obey him even before God. So in his anger, he decided to burn alive the African martyrs. Some were burned alive, others were beheaded. In the span of 2 years, 20 of his court were killed. Like I said, Charles Lwanga at the head of this group. They were canonized by Pope Paul VI, St. Paul VI. And one of the things that we can gather as a spiritual lesson from the testimony of these African saints is that no sacrifice goes to waste in God's providence. What do I mean by this? Do you know how many Catholics Uganda today has? Over 17 million. One more time, it's true that the blood of the martyrs is what waters the soil where new Christians spring forth. 20 martyrs, late 19th century, were the seeds that would bring about 17 million Catholics 100 years after, 150 years after. So you can see that in God's providence, 2 French missionaries evangelized a small group of Catholics. They were martyrs, and God made this sacrifice fruitful beyond any human calculation. So today we should remember the words of Jesus. Let nothing go to waste. And Jesus makes this true about each of our sacrifices. Never believe that your sacrifices for the faith or for love of God go to waste. No sacrifice goes to waste. Whatever you offer up, whatever you endure for God, for what you understand to be true, God will always use it in His own providence and plans to bring abundant fruit. Today, let us trust in the intercession of these African saints, that they may help us embrace the greater sacrifices, knowing that it will always come for the good of the church.